Welcome back. I am Shereem Herndon-Brown, and this is the Best Colleges List catalog. Here we are profiling many different schools that I wholeheartedly endorse for different reasons, but I want to give you my opinion, having visited many of these institutions, as well as give you an opportunity to learn how to do a virtual tour. That is the key. I'm going to show you some ways that you can learn more about these schools without having some of the fancy stuff that I have, because I want you to learn and be exposed to different colleges. Today we're talking about Wake Forest University, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Great. As you can see, I always want families to look at and recognize the acceptance rates. We're going to come back to this as part of being a college admission expert, being the leader of strategic admissions advice. I would be remiss if I didn't bring this to your attention. A 22% admit rate, and that means that it's pretty significantly low, meaning that it's a most selective institution. Okay, never want to be discouraging, but always want you to have the reality. So, with that, 5,400 undergraduate students that does have a graduate programs plural in different disciplines. We can see that in a second. The FIS guide, which is here, the school overlaps with Duke, Emory, North Carolina Chapel Hill, UVA, North Carolina State, Richmond, BC. But I always want you to know that there's a FIS guide here. This is a tool that I use called Custom College Plans, exclusive to the clients that we work with, the Strategic Admissions Advice. But it does have, a wealth of information here. Strongest programs, business and enterprise management, finance, communication. I jumped around a little bit. Let's go back to the statistics here. $90,000. Good luck with that. All right. How many? This is the location. Click to tap interactive map. The location, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Students applied. Regular decision. They choose to show the data for regular decision. Wake Forest does have early decision 1 and early decision 2. They have been test optional well before the pandemic, so I'm very supportive of that. I've always been, if you watch any of my videos, you know that I'm very critical of GPA being listed as part of how to gauge, because so many different schools measure GPA on different scales. So I don't take too much stock into that. But I do want you to see that the application essay is extremely important for admissions considerations. What else is considered? If you're a first generation student, it's interesting. Geographical residence, obviously, it's a private school outside of North Carolina. They want to have geographic diversity. How many students graduate within 4 years? Their retention rate is exceptional. They meet 97.5 of average need met. Only 20% of their students need is fully met. And again, here's some of the financials that you need to consider. I'm going to take you to their financial aid website and other ways that you can kind of navigate the visiting online. Excuse me. I always want to show you what kind of majors that they have: bachelor's and/or master's. So Wake Forest is a university. It has master's degrees and bachelor's degrees, doctoral degrees in a variety of disciplines: business, accounting, business administration as a master's, finance. Again, I endorse Wake Forest for a variety of reasons. I love that it's a small university, if that makes sense. It competes in the Atlantic Coast Conference athletically, which I know matters a lot to a lot of different students. I have clients who've gone there, had amazing experiences, so I'm very, very happy to endorse Wake in that way. Anytime that we discuss colleges, I talk about 4 key pieces, right? The academics, the activities, the admissions requirements, and the acceptance rates. I'm going to take you to their website now so that you can do some of this on your own. Welcome to Wake Forest. You always want to go to their menu or something that has a description of what you want to see. So what we want to always start with first are the academics. So here are our majors and minors, all the different programs that they have in accounting, African American studies, African studies, anthropology, art history, biophysics, business, and enterprise. I like that. Computer science, creative writing, dance is a minor. Entrepreneurship is a minor. But you can always see what is important to you as a family from an academic standpoint and determine, how good, quote unquote, is that department at that school. So the academics are critical. Here I am in the German and German studies. I had a student this past year who actually indicated on his application that he wanted to study German. So we did a lot of research into different schools that had German studies programs. He's actually going to go to a school for international politics, so I'm very excited for him for that. So that's the academics. You always want to be able to see What are the academic offerings out of school? Okay, beyond that, you want to see what the activities hold. Explore and visit, ways to connect, life at Wake. So again, gauge what you think. If you want to visit Wake, then yes, you can go to their campus visit, virtual campus tour. Excellent. Do what they ask you to do. You know, beyond the little kind of snapshot that I'm giving you, this is a way for students to take a virtual tour of Wake. And I think 5 years removed from the pandemic, that this is a really, really good tool to use to learn more about certain schools. And Wake is, look at that. Look, they're giving you the chapters to learn more about different programs at their school. So I'm a big fan of virtual tours. I think they've gotten really good. Life at Wake should explore the activities that happen. So we're going to talk about the academics, the activities, the admissions requirements, and the acceptance rates. Something, information you should always have. So, experience Wake, living on campus, student-like campus dining. Students always want to know what kind of food is served. These are clearly kids who were waking up smiling. Someone said cheese, and they obliged. Something for everyone. They have different, there you go. I've been to Wake. They've got good food. So again, the different offerings that they have in or around campus, right? So again, that's very important to students. Not trying to overly focus on food, but I go back to Life at Wake, arts and culture, right? You want to know what are they doing on campus to keep those who are into performing arts engaged. And I think this is important. So anytime that, again, you have a student who's curious about this stuff, you want to give them the opportunity to learn more in this capacity. Let me move my face. I'm not going to cover affordability. I'm going to get to it. And then, so we had academics. We had Life at Wake in terms of the activities, diversity and inclusion. What are some of their initiatives around supporting not just students of color, but students of socioeconomic difference, international students? I applaud Wake for keeping this website up right now, the LGBTQ plus community. I want them to continue to support students who, again, may not be, that need support. That's all I'll say. All right, so what am I looking at now? I said academics, I said activities, admission. You want to know what do you need as an admissions requirement to apply. I showed you on our custom college plan, but that can, change possibly. But they, like I said, on that it said they didn't take early decision 1 and 2. Here it is that they have an early decision 2 process. They have an early decision 1 process. The Demon Deacons are their name. They talk about financial aid, early decision 1. There you go. Early action they have for first generation students. Interesting. And then early decision 2 and regular decision. So they give you a complete list of items that are needed for your application. All right. School report, transcript, application, teacher forms, all this stuff. You just got to know it. You got to know what they need so you can decide when and if you're going to apply. Always, always, always. So you look at the academics, you look at the activities, you look at the admissions requirements. Let's look at affordability. So financial aid is a big part. I don't want you to ever skip over this. 91 grand is what they're estimating their costs at. And you can also see that there's a net price calculator here, which allows you to add information about yourself and about your personal finances, and then discover how this could or possibly be an option for you. But again, please go through these pages carefully so that you understand the cost, right? If you follow me at all, you understand that college search process, not a particular school, revolves around cost, location, major, career. So we know that Wake Forest cost, sticker price, $91,266. The location is in North Carolina, Winston-Salem. The possible major, we look at the majors and the minors, and then we can look at possible career, which again is a thing that they should show you in their alumni portion. All right, so all that said is always look at what I call the common data set. The common data set is an opportunity for families to learn more about the very specific numbers that go into a college or university's overall, how they spend their operating budget, how much student to faculty ratio there is, what the actual numbers are in terms of the men versus women, gender. So again, a host of data is in the common data set, which every school is required to produce. So I encourage you to review the common data set as you're learning about schools so that you are well aware of the numbers and how data informs not just their college acceptance rates and decision making, but also other financial numbers. again, I want to make sure that you know what this is. Again, my very special College Planner Pro custom college plan, which we use our students. Wake Forest has amazingly challenging essay questions. They have 7 optional essays, which are really not optional, but at the same time, they have great questions that as supplemental essays. I know I'm flying through them, but I've always appreciated Wake's questions because I do think they try to go deeper than just the numbers. They've been standardized test optional, so they give students an opportunities, plural, to showcase their writing in a variety of capacities. Okay, so that's Wake. We talked about the admissions requirements. We talked about the acceptance rates. We talked about the activities. We talked about the academics. Those are the key things I always want you to look for virtual tours as you're learning about school. So please check us out at Strategic Admissions Advice. Allow us to help you with the college application process. So please check out Wake Forest. Come back to the Best College List catalog, and we'll make sure that we share as much information as we can with you. And always hit us up. If there's a school that you want to know about, we can profile it in the same way. You can ask my opinion about it, and I'll give you what I know. All right? Have a great afternoon, everyone. Talk to you soon.